Brought to you by 1AAuto.com, your source for quality replacement parts and the best service on the internet.
Hi, I'm Mike from 1AAuto. I hope this how-to video helps you out. And next time you need parts for your vehicle, think of 1AAuto.com. Thanks.
In this video, we're going to show you how to replace an upper ball joint on this 2000 Ford Crown Victoria. This process is the same for any 95 to 02 Crown Victoria or Lincoln Town Car. And you'll know if your ball joint is getting loose. What you do is you jack up the front of the vehicle and you'll feel some play in the top of the wheel. If you try and shake the top of the wheel back and forth, you'll feel it give a little bit, and the bottom doesn't give. That's the indication that your upper ball joint is bad. Tools you'll need for this repair are jack and jack stands, 18 to 22 millimeter sockets with a ratchet and extension. You'll need a breaker bar or a pipe for some extra leverage for some of these bolts, a screwdriver, a tool to mark the alignment cams, and you'll see what I mean. I use a hammer and a cold chisel. Then you'll need a large adjustable or a 34 millimeter wrench, a grease gun and grease, and a torque wrench. Okay, start by removing the front wheel, pry the cap off, and then if you don't have air tools, you'll want to loosen the lug nuts, then raise and support the vehicle, remove the lug nuts the rest of the way, and remove the wheel and tire. Okay, make sure you support the vehicle under the frame, just like the lift is there. Put a jack stand there, and now use a floor jack to support the vehicle under the front suspension.
Okay, your ball joint is mounted right here. Okay, and you can see there's large nuts on top, and then these here are actually what's called alignment cams, and you actually turn them, and that's how you align the vehicle. What you want to do is mark your alignment cams with the suspension so that you can put it back together the same. And what I basically do is I take this outer one and I mark it right here, right along with the center of my ball joint. Just take a chisel and a hammer. Okay, make a pretty good divot in my alignment cam so I know where it is.
And here I'm going to do the same thing to the inner alignment cam. I generally point the mark towards the shock. It's just a good reference point. Just make a mark that again points right towards the shock, and that way you can put that cam in correctly again. Okay, these bolts are 22 millimeters, and I'm using impact wrench. They actually come apart fairly easily, so you'll need a pretty good size ratchet and an extension. As you're removing these, if the cams come right up and out, that's good, and just make sure that you know which cam goes in which spot. What I do is I generally take the inner cam out first, put that kind of close to the middle of the vehicle on the radiator support, and then I take the outer cam off and kind of put that towards the side of the vehicle. Next, there's a pinch bolt down lower. It's 18 millimeter. You remove the nut off of one side and then use a hammer, and you'll actually want to take and pull the ABS wire out of the way, and then just use a hammer and drive the pinch bolt out. Okay, and once that's out, then you can remove the ball joint. Mine comes out pretty easy. You may need a hammer or a pry bar or something to help you get it out.
New upper ball joint for 1A. It's going to go in just like the original. On.
And basically what I'm doing here is I'm trying to put the stud end of the ball joint down into the steering knuckle at the same time that you're putting it over the control arm studs, the two control arm studs, and then just kind of using a little bit of muscle and forcing it back and forth to force it down in. And then once you have it down in, you take your pinch bolt and slide it in from the back. Make sure it goes in, and it's square headed, so it locks into place so it won't turn when you put the nut on. I'm just using the hammer to drive it in all the way. It should drive in there pretty easily. And then I'll start the nut on it, Make sure you use the locking side. Okay, for now we just start that on, and then we'll go up top, and again make sure that your cams don't get mixed up, and put one in. And it's not so important that they line up perfectly when you first put it together. So what you want to do is put both cams on and line them up best you can, then tighten down the locking nuts, and then what you do is after you tighten them down, you loosen them back up and move one of the cams and tighten that one down just so it's snug. Then move another cam with a large wrench and tighten it down, and I'll kind of show you the whole process here. Okay, kind of in fast motion here. Like I said, just kind of snug up the nuts, and then you can see I use a large adjustable wrench to turn the cam and align it to where it was before, and then tighten them up. You don't want to tighten one up all the way first. You have to be able to move the other one, because when you move it, you move the ball joint as well. And then just make sure that you get both aligned where they were.
Okay, so all installed. There's my mark pointing straight ahead, and here's my mark here pointing right at the fill for the grease.
Now I preliminarily tighten up that pinch bolt and nut.
Tighten this one to 90 foot-pounds. Okay, and now tighten these to 118 foot-pounds. Now insert this grease fitting. I'm going to use a 10mm wrench.
Speed it up here as we tighten up that grease fitting, and then we use a grease gun, and you basically want to squirt grease in there. Watch the boot on the ball joint, and you'll see it start expanding. Once it starts expanding, that's probably enough grease. Put that harness back into its clip. Okay, get the jack down and move it out of the way. Put your tire back on. And start the lug nuts by hand. Make sure you don't cross thread them. Then use your wrench while the vehicle's in the air just to kind of tighten them preliminarily. And then once the vehicle's down on the ground, you want to torque your lug nuts to 100 to 110 foot-pounds. And I use a star pattern. Basically kind of draw a star with your wrench as you're tightening them. And then put your cap back on, and you should be all set. We hope this helps you out. Brought to you by www.1aauto.com, your source for quality replacement parts and the best service on the internet. Please feel free to call us toll-free 888-844-3393. We're the company that's here for you on the internet and in person.